What's up, YouTube? Capital G here. Got a pretty cool Orfagel duel for you guys to check out, showing off some of the capabilities of this deck. I think it's starting to look a little more legitimate. I think the number one thing Orfagel needs, I think that they need effect negation, especially if they can put it in a trap form. Maybe not even a counter trap like a Solemn Strike. I think they could use something like a breakthrough skill, something like a Lost Win, a card that can be activated twice. You could get it from Galatea and activate it once on field, then maybe from the graveyard or reset it. That would be really good, and it would give the deck some nice kind of stun ability, and it would give them like a really just decent trap card to stop their opponent's plays. But Orfagels definitely have some really legitimate plays. I feel like if you're not playing Armageddon Knight in this deck, I just don't think you're doing it right. Like Armageddon Knight, you normal summon it, you drop Diver in the graveyard, you banish your Diver, you summon another Orfagel monster from your deck, you go straight to Galatea just off of a normal summon. Usually Galatea is going to be able to activate. You can put your Diver back into your deck. You get a trap card as well. That's where that Phoenix Chain type card I'm talking about will come into play. It's a very legitimate turn one. That's exactly what he's going to do. Armageddon Knight, I still think there's a decent chance that it could go to 1 by the end of the year. You see right there, he basically did the play that I was talking about. You drop Diver into the graveyard off Armageddon Knight. You banish your Diver. You summon this dude from the deck. Then you have your 2 monsters, including at least 1 Orfagel monster. They're both effect monsters, and boom, summon Galatea. You put back your Diver, and then you just get a trap card, and also you can put back the other guy, and you get you get a monster from your deck as well. So it's pretty decent right there. I think that he made a pretty legitimate board. He could use a little more stun, and he did actually search the Orfagel attack. I kind of said this card was garbage. It's, you know what, I'm not gonna lie, it's better than I thought, mainly because I didn't really take into consideration you can use this card during your opponent's turn. So you can use this card aggressively. I said that it was a shittier Dimensional Prison, but it's a little better than Dimensional Prison. It's not the greatest card. He's going to activate Galatea's effect. I don't know if you guys saw that, but he got the Destiny Draw Prime. He's just going to go ahead and set it on the field. It's not a quick play, unfortunately. I'm not going to lie, things were looking really scary here because he doesn't really have any stun card, so his opponent's going to get the Rescue Bunny off. But then on top of that, when he's able to Pendulum Summon all of these cards, like Pendulum Summon 4, I looked at this and I was like, uh-oh, you might not, your objective needs to be to survive this turn. That's your primary objective, especially when I'm having Electromite as well. He's going for Ignis, or no, my goodness, that is not Ignis Heat, that is Ignister. Too many Igs. He's going to activate Ignister, and then when he went for Utopia the Lightning, I was like, uh-oh, shit's getting real. Obviously, Utopia the Lightning can bring the damage hammer, it can bring the whooping stick. Unfortunately, I think he might have been better just like spinning one of the back row and attacking over the Galatea, because he uses Utopia the Lightning attack on a defense position monster. I don't know about that, man, but I guess he wanted to keep the materials. It's fine. Solemn Judgment, when you've taken all that damage, probably not the greatest top deck, but who knows, it could come in handy. And there are people still rocking Draco Pals. I didn't actually say that at the beginning of the video. Anyways, he's going to activate his Monster Reborn Orfagel. That is the Orfagel Sure Zone, and then he's going to activate this one right here, the World Legacy World Scepter. This one is kind of like it's like Escape from a different dimension. So this one is going to summon one of his banished dudes back. So he now has 2 Orfagel monsters, and let's see what he's going to go for. Might go for another Galatea, which he does. Galatea is going to attack, and then see right here, he activates the Orfagel attack. He launched one of his monsters, and he's going to get rid of Ignister during his opponent's turn, a card that he probably wouldn't have had. Like, you wouldn't have wanted to wait for Ignister on your opponent's side or your opponent's turn, because then it could activate its effect. So he does pretty good. He gets rid of Ignister, and he gets rid of what's that damn card? Heavy Metaphor's Electromite. So at this point, he activates Galatea's effect again to set another copy of Destiny Draw. I feel like maybe he should have just went ahead and set another copy. He must only run 1 copy of attack, because I would have set the attack, because Utopia the Lightning is going to run this bitch over. Now, he did use Orfagel Core, which makes it so she can't be destroyed by battle, which is kind of nice for him, but I think if he plays another copy of attack, he probably should have just went ahead and set it. So Electromite's going to be summoned. He is going to take a huge bit of damage, and the reason why this guy doesn't attack is because she's not going to die in battle. Now, he's only at 150 life points, so if he's going to win this duel, it basically needs to happen. Now, he activated the Orfagel Monster Reborn dude again during his turn, so yeah, he has another monster on the field, and this is really cool. I didn't see this play happening. He's going to summon Longiris. The reason he's doing this is because he's trying to manage the amount of dark monsters he has in his deck. Obviously, Orphagel is really good at doing that, and he's going to go ahead and he's going to summon one of his Orphagels from the banish pile. Then he's going to drop his Dark Arm Daddy. He's going after that back row. Now, keep in mind, his opponent using Scapegoat, bruh, I got Solemn Judgment. He's at 150 life points. He has nothing to lose from that. He's just going to go ahead. He's going to pay half his life points, 75 life points. Now Dark Arm can just fucking regulate. He's going to go ahead, give himself even more darts in the graveyard. Then he activates the Monster Reborn guy again to get Longerus back. I'm still going to call it Longirisu until we get a TCG name confirmed. I'm calling this guy Longirisu. So at this point, he has what? 3,000. Dark Arm is 28 and at 25. That's an OTK. And even though his opponent has been beating him down pretty much the entire game, that's a 75 life point comeback. I think that that's pretty damn respectable. What were his back row? He had a Destiny Draw and he had a Solemn Warning, which he super couldn't use. But Orphagels can do a little bit of work. It's again, I feel like they just need what they really need more than anything. They need effect negation, and they need it in a trap or a spell form because the card Galatea is a very easy card to summon, as you guys saw her summon multiple times in the duel. They need to be able to get Galatea straight from, or they need to be able to get that card straight from the deck. Like if you don't want your Destiny Draw, if you're going first and you need to get a defensive card guaranteed, you kind of need to be able to get that. An Orphagel attack is not bad, but I feel like this card right here, the Orphagel core, it's like a one-of, man. I know it saved them in the duel, but I don't really think the card's all that good. Anyways, I'm gonna pause for a quick second. I'm gonna show you guys what the deck looks like because I'm sure a lot of people have probably never even seen an Orphagel deck. Obviously, it's a ways away from coming out in the TCG. So this is what an Orphagel deck looks like on paper, but this is obviously a preliminary build of the deck. No one's exactly sure all the right cards to run in it at this point. This is by far not like the best build or anything like that. There is no definitive build of Orphagel, and there's definitely some changes that I would make. I think some of them are just glaringly obvious. The first one would be I definitely put reinforcements of the army in this deck. I talked about Armageddon Knight and how that's probably like the strongest normal summon that you have in this deck because it can send Diver to the graveyard, and that becomes basically a one card Galatea. Once you get Galatea on board, Galatea is going to be able to send the Diver back to your deck. You're going to be able to get to any one of your spells and traps. So if you need the Destiny Draw, boom, you basically got it. If you need to get to your field spell, you got that. If you need defensive card, you can get Orphagel Attack. I actually would run multiple copies of this card because they're like the archetype has a Monster Reborn built into it in one of the Orphagel monsters. Then you also have the New World Legacy card, which is an escape from the different dimensions. So it's like you can get monsters on board. I just want to be able to use those monsters effectively. And to me, there are not nearly enough defensive cards in this build, especially with no hand traps or anything like that. I think that Raiden could definitely make some sense in this deck because Charge of the Light Brigade, it gives you the ability to, get more Orphagel monsters in your deck. I think it's another reason why you should also probably be running reinforcements of the army in this build. I don't really know that you need it. You could probably cut the Raiden and cut the Charge of the Light Brigade, add some more defensive cards. I think Veil of Darkness, like I get the concept. Same for like something like Reinforce, or same for Allure of Darkness. It's a card that lets you potentially draw off of the fact that you have so many dark monsters. I really wouldn't run it because it activates during your draw phase, so it's like way too slow for me. I think that Allure of Darkness is more than enough speed, especially when you have a searchable Destiny Draw in this deck. Like I don't really think that you need this, but this is kind of what the deck looks like on paper. There are things that you could adjust. A Pot of Acquisiveness could be kind of good, specifically because of Allure of Darkness. Obviously, all the Orphagel monsters do banish themselves, but if that's not fast enough, if you're running Allure of Darkness and you're banishing, I don't know, a couple of monsters from Allure of Darkness, then you can get 3 banished monsters really quickly. But I believe that Orphagel are one good trap card away. It has to be an effect negation card. Well, it could be an Infernity Barrier where it negates everything, but primarily I think it needs to kind of be something like a Lost Winds, but something that can activate on any monster on the field. Maybe cut the monster down to 0 attack. That'd be really useful. I believe that it could be a competitive deck because this deck does get to its playmaking cards like Galatea relatively easily, mainly just off of a summon of Armageddon Knight. So you can get to your playmaking cards really easily, and I feel like the deck could definitely have some potential. And actually, the last thing, Orphigo Einsatz. Now that I've seen this card in action, I'm pretty sure that I would not be maxing out on it. I said when the Orphigo archetype was first revealed, I felt like it was an okay card for setting up when your opponent does normal or special summons a monster. You get the drop one of your Orphigo dudes in the graveyard where they can activate, or if you want to banish them so that you can summon them back with World Legacy, World Scepter, that's cool too. But mainly it's just the fact that it completely relies on your opponent, and you only get to drop one dude in the graveyard during a turn. So it's not like it's ever all that impactful. I would never run 3 copies of this card unless something else comes down the line and kind of breaks it. I just think it's completely unnecessary.